afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 38th episode of MSME Masterclass. We welcome Ms. Preeti Moghe, the founder and principal business process consultant at Process Craft Consultants, to our webinar today. Preeti has dedicated her career to working with growth-minded SME entrepreneurs who seek to scale their businesses efficiently. She optimizes business operations by designing and implementing streamlined processes and systems, allowing entrepreneurs to reduce their involvement in day-to-day operations significantly. With over 25 years of experience in business operations, client servicing, and project management, Preeti brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise. She has held senior level positions in reputable organizations such as Kotak Group, Datamatics Group, and CDSL. Since embarking on her entrepreneurial journey in 2018, she has successfully transformed over 40 businesses across various sectors, including manufacturing, wellness, financial services, and digital marketing. Preeti's approach involves a thorough diagnostic assessment to identify strengths and weaknesses in business operations, followed by hands-on consulting to redesign and implement effective processes. Her efforts have consistently led to enhanced productivity, better team accountability, increased profitability, and sustainable revenue growth. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Preeti Moghe as she shares her valuable insights and strategies for business optimization. Welcome to our MSME Masterclass, Preeti. It's lovely having you today.
So much, Amrita. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Our topic of discussion today is elevating MSMEs through robust systems and processes. And my first question to you, Preeti, is about the key benefits of implementing robust systems and processes for MSMEs.
Amrita, there are a huge number of benefits that one gets by implementing systems and processes in an organization. Okay, I would like you to compare this with a building. Okay, when you have a 25 floors building, okay, the foundation of that building is going to be robust for it to be built further, right? I'm comparing systems and processes to that foundation. So if your foundation is really right, you will be able to scale, you will be able to grow and have sustainable growth always. So the main thing is here is that the scalability, if you're going in for scalable operations, it is really going to help you. The second and the most important aspect here is you are able to deliver quality products and services to your clients by having systems and processes which are well thought of. Imagine, so it's this way, why would a person want to buy your product and services? There are so many people in the market serving the same thing. The customer might come to you only for one reason, because he gets quality in whatever and timeliness, right? So when you are putting in processes in place, systems and establishing systems in your business, when you look at the consistency in quality wala part, you are going to attract more customers to you. So therefore, it indirectly helps you also in revenue growth, right? Another very important aspect how the processes helps is you are going to standardize your operations, okay, and therefore reduce a lot of your time. Here, Amrita would like to give you one example of one of the clients, okay. They had a set of 7-page document which had to be signed by the clients, and they had to put a lot of, the person there, the executive there, was putting tick marks in places everywhere. If I'm taking even 1 minute to put that tick mark, okay, and there are 5 such tick marks, cross marks for the person to sign, आपका 5 या 10 minute वहीं पे waste हो गया by flipping pages and all. So this 10, and if you have 30 such clients, imagine the kind of wastage of time that you're going to do, right? So this is a very, very simple thing, why don't you get a pre-printed form directly with the cross marks, where so that the client comes to know, yaar, mujhe yahan pe I have to sign it over here, right? So therefore, this is just one simple example. Here, when you review your systems, processes, and when you add a lot of value, you understand, there is so much of scope for improvement, right? So the other aspect is, yes, you get an opportunity to standardize things, therefore reduce a lot of your time. The fourth important point why you should build a systems is you will reduce people dependency to a great extent. Imagine the pain that a business owner undergoes when he knows one of his key resources who has worked with him for 10 years is leaving the organization. It really is dil pe patthar rakh ke he has to ask that person goes. So it is a difficult task. Why? Because in the last 10 years, the bank of knowledge that person has accumulated, okay, goes away with him. So it becomes very difficult to survive, and then people keep on constantly, then your customer service gets impacted hugely. So the people dependency we remove by establishing processes and systems. You are able to reduce people dependency. Another thing is, when new people also come in, the trainings become easier because you have your standard SOPs and processes. So you know what that person has to do. And I think one last and the most important thing which will help by doing this is that you reduce the dependency of the business owner in day-to-day operations, right? Because now what happens is the business owner is the one who is a decision maker, and people come to him every now and then asking for decisions. But if those decisions and those scenarios are well documented, they are there in the SOPs, they are there in the processes, people absolutely know what is to be done in such a scenario, XYZ, right? So don't have to really go to the business owner to ask questions about how the things are going to be implemented or how the things have to be done. So I think, to sum it up, there are huge benefits by putting in systems and processes. You save a lot of your time, you standardize things, dependency of the owner is reduced, and with this, this gives you a great foundation. If you want to scale, you can really scale fast, quicker, and better if you are able to have systems in place and processes in place. Yeah, I hope I've answered that.
That really helps, Preeti. Preeti, my next question to you is, what is the right time to implement these systems and processes?
Right. So the right time actually depends from business to business. Okay, it all depends from business to business. But there are some key indicators or indications or signs that people need to see in SMEs or MSMEs when I need to implement it for my own company, right? One of the key things is when you have increased number of employees. Today I'm having 5 and next I'm going to 10, or I have 50 and I'm going to 100, which means that you are scaling, which means there is going to be revenue growth as well. So with the increased number of employees, what happens is we need to get all these people on the same page. We need to rather ensure that my customer service, my customer experience with these 5 people or these 10 people is going to be the same, right? So therefore, the one indication is, if your number of employees that you're hiring is increased suddenly, you are increasing your revenue figures. Now I'm on a 100 crore and moving on to a 200 or a 150 crore company. You must have this in place, because the more business that you're going to get in, you need to serve that business well so that you get sustainable growth in future. We don't want things to go bad and customers stop giving us more deals or more orders. Okay, so that is the reason why you need to put it at this place when you are in the growth phase, scaling up. Another indication is when you start receiving a lot of customer complaints. So I'll just tell you an example of one of my clients where the business owner used to constantly get calls, escalation calls for services not being properly done, or there were some issues in the way the services were given to the client. There was a lot of hassles that business owner every single day morning he used to see in his mailbox or on his WhatsApp messages. That was so demotivating, and he was so upset that he wanted to really close base in Mumbai and move to a tier 2 city or tier 3 city, and he had selected Mangalore as the city, where he said, "Yahan pe I'm going to shut this and I'm going to start there with a complete fresh team and crowd and complete fresh perspective." Okay, why now? Just take a moment and understand, why is it that a customer will complain to you? The biggest reason would be that whatever your sales team has committed to the client or committed, that commitment has not been very well fulfilled by the company, right? That is the reason why the customer would complain. Why otherwise? I'm giving you so much money. Why is it that you are not giving me that kind of service or that kind of product? Okay. Simple thing in this scenario, what was done was the way the delivery of the product or services was happening. We re-looked at the complete thing, and we also looked at the HR part, because this is going to be serviced by people, right? It's not just the process are not going to go alone. It's people who are going to run those processes. We looked at the people. We looked at the way the delivery of the service was happening. After rectification of all this, I'm telling you, in just 3 to 4 months time, there was a complete shift, and the escalations absolutely reduced to zero. So this shift happened just by re-looking at the way you're delivering the service to the client, and that caused a great shift and change. So look out for customer feedback always. This is an indication that tells you, am I on the right path, or am I missing something in the way I'm doing things, right? And the other aspect is when you look at your profitability figures. Another sign to see is when you look at your profitability figures and you will understand that margins are not the kind of margins that I was expecting. I'm not getting that kind of margins. So this is also another scenario where then you need to establish certain processes or systems to ensure that you are able to get that margin. Here, all your operational inefficiencies, you'll have to plug those. Now, this is the time. So to sum it up, Amrita, I think you need to look at increased employees. If you want to build systems processes, look at if your employee count is increasing. If you are going in for scaling up and your revenues have suddenly increased, okay, your activities in your business have become more complex. So sometimes that also is a thing, complexities of the tasks that one is doing in the company. If complex tasks are coming up, then you need to put in processes. Customer feedback is something that you need to really look out, and operational inefficiencies and looking at your profitability figures. I think these are some of the signs that a business owner must look at when thinking of establishing systems and processes.
Preeti, because you mentioned about a case study here to our audience, I want to check with you on the fact that when you say that HR was looped in and people processes were managed better. When we talk about these processes that were managed better, what are these processes like?
I'll just tell you which are these processes in HR. So I would like to come upon this point. Okay, now I'm just going to answer this question, which is with regards to which kind of SOPs that you need to put in. Okay, and rather before that, I would like to tell you about this step-by-step way in which your question will get answered there. Okay, the step-by-step process in which you have to implement systems and processes. Okay, I'm coming to that. Based on the overall experience that I have of more than 25 years working in the corporate sector and helping SME businesses, I've just understood one thing, that there are 3 elements that you need to put in your business, okay, which is going to help you stabilize your processes, systems, and establish systems in your organization. And these 3 are the key foundations, okay. So one is your core processes, the way you are actually doing the things in your business, okay, that is the workflows. That is one of the critical aspects that one needs to look at when you are establishing systems in your organization. The other aspect, now here what you were talking about is that the people process. People are critical for any business, okay. They are the ones who actually run the show, right? So therefore putting in all the aspects with respect to people become very critical. So looking at, I'll explain also in detail to you, about in people, what is it that you need to look at. I'll explain that in a while, but I'm just telling you about the 3 elements. So the first element is the process element, the second element is about the people, and the third element is about reports and reviews. Unless and until you have some numbers or dashboards or scorecards in front of you to watch out the signals about whether your business is really doing well, your services is doing well or not, you won't be able to progress further, because there are certain times there are some things which you see in red that gives you an indication, yeah, I'm not on track, right? So reports and reviews of those reports with your team. So these are the 3 key elements that you must set up while setting up your systems in your company. Okay. Amrit, I would like to really explain what is it that you're going to do in each of these things, right? So that it will help the audience also to understand better. Now, in the process part, okay, when I need to look at my processes very keenly. Most of us in the SME businesses, MSME segment, okay, we do not really review our processes ever. किसी ने कभी तो at some point of time somebody must have established a flow of work, and that continues for over a period of long time, unless there is some regulatory change that has happened or something has gone really bad, then you relook at it. So here looking at the processes is very critical. So therefore, if you get your team together, okay, and have a kind of a discussion, have some time slot allocated, maybe on a free day, or whenever there is a slack season in the business. Some people have seasonal businesses, so then there is a slack season. Perhaps you can relook at your processes and the way it has been made. And you don't really need a lot of things here. You just need a whiteboard and a pen, paper, pen, lelo. Yeah, use certain good things like mind maps. These are all technology. Use mind maps. Okay, MindMeister is one of the things that I would tell the audience to use. It's really simple to use and can be done. You just jot down the flow. But when you do this, do it always with your team. Involve your team members is what I would really tell the audience to do when they are chalking out or relooking at or reviewing their processes. You're doing nothing but an audit of a process. Okay, that's very simple. And you're just doing an audit. Put it on paper and let's see how the flow goes. But involve your team. Why the team? Because these guys are the ones who are actually in touch with the ground level reality. The business owner or the senior members of the team may not know the reality at all, because they are not doing it on an everyday basis. They're not interacting with your clients and vendors every day. So they may not be knowing the reality of the situation. So therefore, involving team members to do this is most critical. Have that and then proceed further. Chalk it out, understand why, and give time to people to think of what can, or rather you have to motivate team members. What is it that you can change in this? How is it that we can make it better? And always have an end result. So if I make a change in the process, how is it going to impact me in terms of absolute numbers? If I'm looking at a sales process, I need to look at whether my revenues are going to increase because of an action that I have taken, right? The way I'm doing the sale or the way I'm going to market my things, how is it going to impact? If there is a product that I'm going to deliver in 5 days and I'm thinking 4 days, I have to deliver it in 4 days, and that's my end result. So therefore your process has to be tuned in such a fashion that it helps you reach your target of delivering or manufacturing that particular product in flat 4 days, right? So look at the end result in mind. Have your team members together, have their buy-in on this, because unless you have to communicate why we are doing these things to them very clearly so that they can put their thinking caps on. See, normally in everyday work, you really don't have the time to look at why am I doing this. But when you have one Saturday, maybe a dedicated day or a Saturday of some particular month when we are doing brainstorming on processes, maybe ask them to put their thinking hats on, give them a goal and say then how you will manage this, and they come up with super suggestions. I can tell you because I've worked with a lot of such SME businesses, and their teams give super suggestions and they're really helpful, and once you implement those, you can see the impact. Okay, so involve the team members, put your process on paper, and then put checklists, add checklists. So checklists help a lot. Okay, if I'm doing a simple thing, if I'm a product manufacturing company and I'm producing something and I want to do a QC of it. Put down the parameters about what is it that I'm going to do as a QC checklist. Okay, so when I get materials, I'm a manufacturing company. I'm ordering materials from outside, and I need to check the quality of the materials when they are delivered to my go down store or wherever. I need to have a checklist about what is it that I'm going to check. So like this, if you put a lot of built-in checklists, this helps you to reduce a lot of rework. Okay, so that is the reason why building checklist is also very critical. Write this process down on paper. It can be very simple language, no need of jargons, no need of great complicated systems or great complicated technology to do it. It could be as simple as a Word document or an Excel sheet will do the job. But at least we had decided that these are the steps that we are going to follow. Okay, now when you brainstorm, Amrita, when you brainstorm this process, lot of actionables come up. We need to make this change. There could be 5, 10, 15, you don't know how many changes that the team proposes. The business owners or the team leaders there also agree to it, and you want to do all that. Now, if I have 15 such in a process, if I have 15 such changes or improvements that I need to make, it's going to become very difficult to do it at one go. And the team also gets scared, somewhere thinking that if I give an additional suggestion, it's going to be me who's going to do it. So I don't want to really give any suggestions at all. So the business owner has to make it very clear to the audience, saying that to his team, saying that we will prioritize and we don't have to do all the changes together at one go. It will be a messy affair if we do all the changes in one go. So the business owner, the leaders there will have to prioritize which are the points that you're going to work on first, and that's how your process changes happen, right? So when you're putting systems, processes in place, the first aspect that you need to relook at is your complete workflow. Now, next I'm coming to the important aspect is the people part. Because people are the ones who are going to run this process and going to actually interact with your client, vendors and all, right? What is it that you need to do over here? Most SME businesses have this huge gap of not having an appropriate organization structure. Okay, and this is one of the primary things that I think every business owner must look at, whether his organization is structured well. Most of the time, it is the business owner and the team. There are no levels in between. But when you reach a certain point of time, when you have more than 10 employees, 15 employees, it's time that you put in a structure in place where you have at least a team leader or a manager somewhere in between you and the team. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult for the business owner to handle sales and also handle the back-end operations. Then either one of it gets suffered if the business owner doesn't get the time. Right? So therefore, have a structure in place, have certain teams, segments. Okay, you can find it on Google. A lot of information is available about how to create organization structures. Have some hierarchy. So it's not just the business owner and the team. There has to be certain levels, hierarchies, who are the decision makers. All the decisions, therefore, don't have to be taken by the owner. So organization structure is one of the key things that we must do. Once a structure is well established, job roles defining is also very important. There is a famous saying, everybody thought somebody will do it and therefore nobody did it. Okay, it's there in one of the very famous books called as Scaling Up. Okay, people do this. Everybody thinks, acha ye mera kaam to nahi hai, kisi aur ka hai. That person is going to end up doing it. Okay, so therefore, for this situation not to happen, that किसी ने सोचा कोई और करेगा and then nobody did it. Okay, let's have job roles in place. So everybody knows, this is my area. This is what I need to do. At least primary responsibilities this is my primary response. In case somebody doesn't come, then I have to do another thing that is secondary responsibility. But at least my primary responsibilities are very clear in my head, right? So job roles defining and hiring practices have to be set right. depending upon the culture of the organization, depending upon the need of the organization. Okay, do I need skilled resources for this role? Do I need people staying only in a particular location for this particular role? What kind of educational qualifications do I need? Experience do I need? That has to be very critically thought of before you hire anybody. What kind of questions are you going to ask that person, so that you can judge the knowledge of the person coming there, and that guy is going to help you out and do it. Maybe it's a manager who's going to lead a team, so it doesn't have any managerial abilities, going to be very tough. So hiring process has to be very well defined somewhere. Okay, and also define staff policies. So in people, you have to define staff policies, because there's a lot of there's a lot of disputes that happen if somebody is given a holiday. Somebody who's not handling key role in the key activities, okay, in the company can take holidays, and the person who's handling some critical task is denied of any holidays. Or he says, "Yeah, tum ja hi nahi sakte ho, just because you are handling key responsibilities, I can't let you go." So this kind of thing leads to a lot of disputes among the employees. They feel really bad about it. So therefore, define policies. Define all the stuffs, with respect to even leaves, what kind of remuneration you're going to get, what kind of appraisals you're going to have. Everything needs to be defined, right? So once you define all this in people part, okay, now you have to set them to deliver. How will you set them to deliver? So now they know what their role is. They know where they stand in the company's hierarchy. They are very clear about what my policies are and all. Now you ask them to run. Define goals for every individual that is there in the organization. So we call it as KRAs, or key result areas, for the team members. Every member should be associated with some number that he has to deliver. As simple as that, if it is a receptionist in my organization, she has to pick up the call within 3 rings. That's her goal. For sales, it's very easy. Okay, revenue is your goal, or the number of clients that you're going to get in, that's your goal. But define some KRAs for your people. Let them know, yeah, I have to deliver this, and I am responsible for this particular number in the organization. Okay. Now, when you set that is the measures that you give them, goals, you have to also review. You have to set a mechanism of maybe a quarterly goal setting kind of an exercise. You can do it. It depends upon company to company. Some people manage it on a monthly basis. But ideally, if you ask me, it would be a quarterly review mechanism is very good to go. You have a goal for a quarter. So you go small. You don't give the entire goal for a year. It looks too heavy to achieve. Split the goals into quarters. Every quarter, I know what am I supposed to achieve, and review that person on the basis of that. So once you do this regular basis pay review mechanisms, you also give them feedback. It's not just reviews and I'm telling you this is the point. Tell them where you want to improve. And you tell it in such a way that they know it. Feedbacks always have to be a sandwich feedback, okay? You tell the good about that person, tell what is the feedback, and then sandwich mein you put it again as a positive feedback. So a positive, a negative, and a positive. This whole package, when it goes to the employee, they are able to really understand, Acha, I need to improve on this. Tell it politely in a proper, nice fashion, but in a very assertive way. If it is told in an assertive way, people understand. And once I get a feedback, I know, I need to run here. I need to do this, right? So this is in the people part that you need to really do. So you have done your processes. The second element was the people part, where we spoke about organization structures, job roles, hiring the right candidate for the right place, and also staff policies, and defining your KRAs, goals, structure, and reviews for your team. That's the people part that you're going to work on. Okay. And last but not the least, the third element that is the most important is having reports and reviews. Unless and until I see a figure, let's look at a India-Pakistan match, and Virat Kohli is batting, and we don't know whether uske chhakke marne se score kya hone wala hai. how disappointing it is. You wouldn't really know. Same goes in business, if I do not know that my sales figure today, I've achieved the target of 95%, I just need 5 more percent to complete my target, that sales guy is not going to run. Okay, or I have a goal of having 3 new clients or 5 new clients, and I know I've already reached 4. I need just that one person. I will push myself a little more to do things. And that's how, see, Amrita, somewhere by doing this, you are also creating an energy in the organization and asking them to execute better, and it pushes people also to do certain tasks. So while I'm saying all this, on the people part, you also need to appreciate people for their good work. You also need to reward them for the good work. Okay, when all these things come together, okay, and I see those reports and I know I'm delivering or not delivering, it creates a huge impact. So the reports are very important, and reviews of it with the business owner or the leadership team of the companies, and at a particular frequency. You need to define, we will review on a quarterly frequency, or quarterly is too long, on a fortnightly basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis. This is the decision that which report, what has to be reviewed, which teams have to be reviewed when. This all has to be, if it is clearly defined in black and white, it creates solid impact. It really pushes people to execute. They just have to go a little, just do a little more to achieve whatever they have. So I think I've explained to you the steps that one needs to take to establish systems and processes in the organization. Just work on these 3 things: process, people, and reports and reviews. If you establish this thing and it works very smoothly and consistently, if you do it over a period of time, huge impact on the business. Your foundation gets done. Your foundation is ready by doing all these things.
Preeti, could you also explain to our attendees what are the top 5 essential processes according to you which MSMEs must have to succeed?
Good question, Amrita. I think this is the most important part. While we are talking about establishing processes, we have huge number of processes in any organization, okay, and not necessarily all of them really need to be thought of immediately. But based on my experience, this is purely based on my experience. Every business is different. You can really look at what your core processes are, and I think you must look at core processes first and do it. Okay, start working on those processes, or rather the process that we spoke about. Getting your teams and brainstorming and finding out what are the gaps and all those things that can be done. In my opinion, the first and the most important thing is about your marketing and sales process. Okay, because that's going to give you business. If you don't have enough leads coming in, your sales team is not going to be able to work on that. And if your sales team doesn't do the work well, conversions will not happen, and you won't get paying clients, right? So therefore, having your marketing and sales process, okay, this is one thing that is critical. Let's go in a flow. Once I get a deal, okay, next what? The next thing that comes in is my work order or a purchase order, whatever you call it in companies. Work order management process is something that I need to really work on as a process. Once I get a work order, how is it that I'm going to handle my team? What is it that the team is going to tell the client? What are the different deliverables? What are the timelines for it? When am I going to complete? What kind of communication will go to the client? When and who is going to send it? Okay, how am I going to handhold the client? It could be a product, it could be a service, okay? But the work order management SOP is another important. I'll tell you 5 such SOPs which are important. So this is the second one. So once your work order has come and you're actually doing it, now your customer service SOP is very important. How is my client communicating to me for any of his service requirements? Okay, and how is it that I'm going to deliver this? How am I going to service my client? Are there some TATs defined or SLA, service level standards, or turnaround times that I have defined? so that the customer is very happy with whatever I am delivering. At least he knows, okay, I'm going to deliver you this product in 5 days or 10 days or whatever it is. So your customer service and support, even after your sale is done, even after you deliver the product to your customer, post that the customer may have certain things that he may need. May need some servicing for certain machines maybe. How is that going to happen? So that customer survey and a number, a dedicated number, particular number on which the customer can call, who's going to attend, within how much time, all this gets defined in the customer service SOP. After that, now you also need to define financial management SOP. Now here finance is the backbone of any company. You need to have proper budgeting exercise done, budgets, vis-a-vis the budgets, what's my billing and my collections, invoicing, my collections, and when is it that I'm going to bill, at what junctures, all that, I need to also look at my expense. I also need to look at my payouts. Vendors, are my vendors going to be paid after 90 days, 60 days, 45 days, and who's paying, when is it that I'm going to pay? All that will come in your financial management SOP, everything related to money. Right. And the last one and the most important one is about your people management SOP. Your hiring process, your reviewing mechanisms. How are you going to do team engagement programs? When are you going to do your team engagement programs? Are there certain rewards that you're going to give your team? What benefits you're going to give to your team members? Now, how are you going to do the appraisals? Okay, and what are the scores and how you're going to manage all that? That has to be very transparent and it has to be written down and documented. So to summarize, sales marketing SOP is critical. The work order management SOP is critical. Your customer service SOP, your financial management SOP, and your HR management SOP. These are the critical, at least 5 critical SOPs that an SME business or MSME business owners can have. But this is based out of my experience, but every business is again different. You can look at your core processes at least. Or in the example that I just shared, the business owner who wanted to shut down his Mumbai operations and move to Bangalore. Okay, in his case, sabse bada issue was his delivery, the way his services were getting delivered. So look at even those processes which is like eating away of a lot of my time or the most problematic process in my company. So you can look at that. Yeah, so that's it, Amrita, about which SOPs you should implement.
Understood. Now let's assume, Preeti, that I've implemented all these processes and systems in place. Now, how do I measure their effectiveness?
Amrita, we covered a part of it in my the 3 pillars or the 3 elements that I need to important elements that I need to have. I talked about reviews and reports, right? So the minute I put down any SOP or I have created a proper workflows, I need to measure the success based on those reports. So now one very important aspect here is that a lot of SME business businesses do not have systems in place, which is like automated IT systems. I'm talking about ERPs of sorts, or some of them don't even have proper trackers to track the inflow of things. Okay, so how many leads am I getting? And out of those leads, how many are getting converted? This is a simple parameter, right? So if I'm making a sales and a marketing SOP, I need to measure what is my percentage of conversion. 100 leads, usme se 10 got converted, 10% conversion is something that I need to measure. So I think if you have to measure the effectiveness of any process, you need to have related report mechanism or MISs for measuring that success. You need to have that in place. And if you don't have, start small, no harm. Let's put trackers. It could be Excel trackers, it could be Google Sheets, right? But simple as that, at least start putting in the data somewhere. The minute you have a lot of data, you can actually analyze, make some sense out of that data, and therefore you can then understand and analyze What is maybe say some figures are going really up. It's in green always, but it's in green because of some action that I'm doing constantly, right? Identify that. If it is going in red, I've had 2 months in green and suddenly there is a huge dip. I'm in red for the third month. Okay, what's gone wrong? So this is the root cause analysis that we do. Okay, based on the data that I have. So here again, see, important is data. The minute I have data, I'm going to analyze and understand what went wrong this month because of which I was in red, right? So always measure the effectiveness with some reports. When the reports come, you understand where there is a dip. And if there is a dip, I need to take some corrective action. Let me again go back and revise my SOP. Right? So all this is very well correlated. And SOP report tells you where you are. If your process is not giving you the desired results, change it and go back to the whiteboard, discuss, brainstorm, come back with solutions, implement, and you will see the changed figures. Right?
Absolutely. Preeti, also the fact that as human beings, we resist change. So how can we overcome this resistance to change within the organization?
Good question, Amrita. Most of the people, when you tell them, to do newer activity, all of us love comfort zone. Nobody likes any change, okay? And it is human nature, okay, to do that way. But you know what? You have to explain the members, WIIFM. What is it in for me? So the minute as a team member or as a leader or as a manager of your organization, if you explain to them and communicate well, what is it in this for you? There will be, I think people will be able to understand that better and they will be ready for change. But again, this change doesn't happen really very quick. It is a very slow process. But I think businesses need to start somewhere at least. There is always a starting point somewhere. There will be resistance and you have to accept it. Resistance to hone wala hai. In spite of communication, sometimes I feel that, and I've seen in organizations that people are just not willing. Communication flow is very important. And also explaining to them how this is going to help their lives. Today, if I'm spending I'm working for 7 hours, and because the way I am handling my things, I have to sit for 8 hours. If I explain to the team member, your work is going to get reduced, you can go home on time by implementing certain or smoothing of processes, I think that's going to be really very helpful. So I think, yes, change is difficult. Coming out of comfort zone is difficult, but yes, there is a starting point. You need to have a starting point somewhere.
And what strategies do you think can be used to improve systems and processes on a continuous basis?
See, on a continuous basis, if you want to improve, I would, somewhere I had read this, long back. Dedicate a particular day during the week, okay, to for certain activities that you look at improvement. So this is all based on the Kaizen principle. So Japanese principle of Kaizen, you're aware, right? Where they say that incremental chote changes that you do leads to a large impact at the end of the year, right? So every quarter, perhaps. So normally I do this. I put this point in the KRAs of team members, right? What you do is put a point in the KRA of team members saying that what are the steps that you have taken to make an improvement or a change in the way you work. Okay, and I'm giving you one whole quarter, 3 months time. When you are doing your work on a regular basis, see what is it that I can improve. I'm saying one change that you can make. So that one change could be as small as making a little change in your Excel sheet so that your data can come faster or you can create a report faster. One small change. The example that I gave you, some time back, I'm having a form 7-pager. I'm doing it with my hand, that cross with hand and asking the customer to sign over there. Rather print karke, you give it to the customer, it's going to save me time. Small change. But that small change will cause a huge impact at the end of the whole year. So if possible, give some kind of a goal for your team members to do one small change in the way you do your work in a quarter. And every quarter, if you review that, so when you do goal settings and when you do at the start of the quarter, this is the goal, give it there. And at the end of 3 months, review it. So it should not go unreviewed. Review. When you review it, at least people will take it seriously. Yes, I have to do this particular thing. So over a period of time, then at the end of the year, you will understand, yes, at least 4 changes that you have done may be small, but then the people will get used to this particular thing and they will start thinking. So, but yes, starting somewhere is important. And that's how I think you can motivate people to at least get that change done.
I think incentivizing will also help in this case where, small processes, changes by employees have caused big changes in the organization at large.
Very, very, very true. A lot of things have happened. I have a case where somebody had saved 5,000 rupees per month by doing some action by 5,000 rupees per month. Even if I go to see 12 months, it's a good amount, right? So I would suggest, and I normally put this as well, give spot awards for such initiatives taken. Because looking at you, then somebody else will get motivated saying that, acha, yeah, he got a good 5,000 ka spot award. Okay, give it as some vouchers or maybe some cash reward or whatever. He got a spot award because he thought like this, and because of that change, there is an impact. Okay, give spot awards. Those are also best motivational. बहुत motivation मिलता है. Money is motivation for everybody.
True. Preeti, I know you've touched upon this, but if you could elaborate on the fact that how can MSMEs use customer feedbacks to enhance their systems and processes?
Yes, customer feedbacks. So I think I've spoken about that, but customer feedback, many people don't take. That is one of the key points. But if they start taking for anything, and you need not take it every time for every product, maybe you can, it depends upon what kind of business are you in. You can decide a frequency when you want to get a feedback from the customer. Some people take it after every deal that has been done. Or you can define it, end of the year, I'll take a feedback from all my customers. It depends from from business to business. But yes, taking that is most important. And once I get that, somebody needs to please analyze. Ye feedbacks are there in somebody's drawers. Are kept in somebody's drawers unanswered, and then nahi hota hai. But yes, you have to pull it out, analyze, find out, and ask simple questions so that you get good feedback calls.
And what role, Preeti, does leadership play in successfully implementing these robust systems?
I think leadership has got a huge role to play. Starting with the business owners. So we are talking about MSMEs, and the business owners play a very critical part here. They may be having teams and having their leadership teams and all, but I think it starts from top onwards. If the business owner is convinced that yes, I want to build robust systems and processes, okay, that's the starting point. And then communicating with the team is very critical. So the guidance, the direction or the vision is of the business owner. If he guides his team well about getting these systems established, it is going to be helpful. Another thing is that communication plays a very important role. If you do not communicate the why behind what you're doing, you will not get a buy-in from your team, and then they will not take any action. Jab mujhe pata hai why am I doing this particular thing, it is going to be really they know what it is for me, and therefore high chances I will do that. So yes, communicating, then measuring the success based on regular reviews or regularly, looking at the reports, where am I, how is it that's going to, what is happening, and allocating maybe specific resources. So when you do this particular activity, Amrita, in organizations, everybody is busy. Maybe we can allocate a couple of people, or maybe one person or two people here who are going to be the drivers for all this. It cannot be done single-handedly for sure. If it's somebody's vision, it's a business owner's vision that we want to set up or be a company with robust systems and processes, communicate, have certain set of people who are going to drive this project. And then you will see, and then when you review and all those things will happen, definitely what actions have happened where, and those actions also need to be recorded, all those things. Yes, but leadership, our role is very critical. Even the managers or the team leaders, if it's a large company having a leadership team, that leadership team also needs to be convinced that why we are doing this. And then I think then the flow, once a conviction of people is there, results will happen definitely.
Correct. That's absolutely right. Now, my last question to you, Preeti, for today's session is what external resources or support can MSMEs leverage to enhance their systems and processes?
External support, I would say yes. You could use technology. You could use mind maps, which are there. MindMeister is one of them. MindMeister. Okay, it's a very good tool for laying down all your processes. That is the external support that you can take. You also have business consultants who can help you out with this. So you can take help. Another aspect is you can also have specific roles, process excellence people you get from the market, you can employ them. Somebody who has a knowledge of how to build processes in the companies. Okay, this is called as process excellence, is the designation that people gave them. So you can have such kind of people also on board. So by doing this, I think you can really start the journey of building systems, processes, and organization.
Lovely. As we conclude this enriching session of our MSME Masterclass, we extend a heartfelt gratitude to you, Preeti, for sharing your valuable experiences and expertise. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Most welcome, Amrita. Most welcome.